Hi everybody, this is John O'Brien with California Credence at californiacredence.com. So as I said before, I don't know everything, and this channel is about being a learning community. I got a little bit more information about how Multitracker can successfully be used to transmit lots of patch changes, program changes. Other users have been using it with no problem. I personally thought that maybe that was one of the downfalls about Multitracker, but it turns out that I didn't really understand the program fully. So why don't we go ahead and get started and see how Multitracker can transmit program or patch changes to various MIDI equipment, from keyboards to effects. Okay, so what we're going to do is first I want to take you real quickly. I don't want to waste a lot of time with this, but this is how we program the patch changes, and I'm using the Cubasis for the time being. You can use whatever DAW you want. My suggestion is, when you're creating the MIDI file, what you do want to do is put like some kind of a note or piece of data at the beginning, and if you come over here to the ending of it, you also want a MIDI note here at the end as well. So that's really important. If you stick a MIDI note in at the end and at the beginning, what it'll do is it'll create a boundary with the MIDI file so that it can be handled appropriately. If you don't put a piece of data at the beginning and on the end of your song, that may not save the MIDI file properly. So let's go into what we have here. I did some programming here, and this top one is for the montage. Then I have an effect over here, which is a studio quad. So all I did was, if I go here to the data and I pick program change, you'll notice that I've poked in some program values. Now the montage is a lot more complicated because you have to have an LSB and an MSB. This is MSB and this is LSB. And then you have to put in program changes, which I'm demoing that Multitracker can handle complicated MIDI program changes. And then you have down here the studio quad, which are more the like guitar effect, where they're very simplistic, and they just have a program number change, no MSB or LSB. So let's have a look at, I just have the drum track that's rolling with this. I just want to show you in the DAW, this is what it would look like. Okay, so if I'm doing this, you're going to notice here that the montage is going to make a patch change. Okay, and then you can see here the studio quad is going to have a patch change. Okay, and then I did it again here just to show that you can make even more patch changes, and this is going along in the middle of the song. Okay, same thing here. Okay, and same thing here. So 57, there you go. So let's just imagine that we've finished our project, and I'm going to go ahead and export this. Again, whatever DAW you use, I'm going to create a mix down, and we're going to call it Respect Patches 2. Okay, so I'm just saving this as just the MIDI data, that's all. So it's going to save it as one MIDI file. That's been exported, and so all I do is I grab that, and I'm going to take it in the files, and we'll see that files, it'll be on my iPad, it'll be in Cubasis 3, in my mixdown, and you'll see Respect Patches 2. So, oh, looks like I made another one before. You can just copy that into the directory. Excuse me, I didn't mean to do that. You just copy that Respect Patch, okay? And then you're going to copy that into the directory here, and there's a Respect folder on your iPad. Let's find that. So it'd be copied in here. I've already done that, but basically there it is, Respect Patches. So now that that's in there, let's go into Multitracker. And Multitracker, what we're going to see is, I'm going to go into the Respect folder that's here in Multitracker. We're going to see the Respect 2 MIDI file. Those are the patch changes. Before I get to programming all of this stuff, in order to get the patches to run right, we have to pick this gray bar up here, and let's go ahead and set it up. Now I have a couple of MIDI outputs. One is the Yamaha or the Montage or Yamaha Bluetooth, and the other is Studio Quad Bluetooth. So I want to add these. So one of the things I want to make sure is, see where it says when starting song? I don't want that. I want this to be set to original from MIDI file. And so I'm saying the program changes, I want them to go along with the MIDI file. Then I have to add the outputs, and I'm going to go here and I'm going to add the Studio Quad Bluetooth. These are all Bluetooth, and Yamaha's on channel 1, Studio Quad is on channel 3. So we've got this part all taken care of. Everything's all pointed in the right direction. Unfortunately, if you use Cubasis, you do have to make sure that you put in these MIDI routings. If you use a different program or a different DAW, you wouldn't have this. But in this case, I just have to tell it. I have to add these two here. And then lastly, I just go ahead and point these to the respective outputs here. Remember, this was channel 3. So montage is on channel 1, and the Studio Quad is on channel 3. So the real question is, okay, we've recorded that. How is that going to go along now that we've put this inside? And these are the MIDI tracks. These are the audio tracks. So let's go ahead and run it. Well, let's have a look here. Here's just like we did in the DAW. There we go. And this should go to, I can't remember, 91. And then this should go to symphonic or something like that. Okay, and this should go to, I can't remember, 12, 9. And then this one goes to JP strings, maybe 57. There you go, 57. All right, so what you can see is that Multitracker is handling multiple program changes over the course of the song. So that's really hugely powerful, and it's done very simply. And then all you do is you just take that and you go ahead and save it. I saved that as Respect Training. There we go, we're all set. And just like that, we have MIDI program changes wherever you wish, and that would be according to however you set that up when you put it in a timeline on your DAW if you load in the tracks. So isn't that easy? So you can see that Multitracker is definitely the alternative to Ableton Live for those who are performing professionally, and especially scripted shows, because it can run DMX lighting through MIDI. The MIDI lanes in Multitracker can run audio tracks with unlimited routing for your front of house engineers in case they want to mix down the backing tracks the way they would like to. And it also runs MIDI tracks to trigger MIDI instruments. But on top of that, it also transmits program changes for patch changes in your effects processors and for your MIDI instruments as well in the middle of the song as much as you want. So Multitracker really is the professional performing musician's alternative.